see, so there is another file, angular.json, angular.json. Another file you can see, angular.json. Actually, it is a CLI configuration. It is a CLI configuration for all projects in the workspace. For all projects in the workspace. So that means it contains, it includes configuration options, So configuration options for building, for debugging, for testing, etc. That means actually, observe carefully here. We are using shopping app folder. In this workspace, we can maintain several folders, because you remembered I opened shopping app directly. If I opened Angular projects, you can see when I open Angular projects, you can see in Angular projects, we have a shopping app. in this Angular project, I can maintain several applications again. Now, in this workspace, there can be several applications. Shopping app is one application. Another can be in another application. So if you are maintaining multiple applications, not even if we are maintaining multiple applications, suppose you have this application, shopping app. In that application, whatever the configuration you need for building, testing, deploying, all the configuration is defined in angular.json. In angular.json, the configuration for building, testing, everything is defined. That means it will show, remember, this is used to define all the repository that you need for your project. All the repository you need to use for your project. For example, I scroll down here. You see, it says that which file must be index file. Index file means startup file. Which file must be the startup file? So that means startup file should be src index.html. You can change it. It says that from where TypeScript configuration should be taken. It says from where images should be taken, from where CSS should be taken, from where scripts should be taken. So this is not only for development. It is not only for development, but also for production. For production, which library to take? For development, which library to take? All the configuration is defined in this. So that means what files your project have to use for building, for testing, for deploying, from where it has to pick the files. All those details are defined inside this angular.json. It is a configuration for all projects. So in the workspace, it includes configuration options for build, debug, testing, etc. So that means it comprises of mapping to files and other repository. Mapping to files and other repository means from where to bring the files. So which file we have to use for startup. In production, what files need to be used. All such things it will define. We will work with them. How to handle that, we will see that. That is what actually angular.json is. Next, you have a browser list. We are having a browser list. You can see there is a browsers list. We are having a browsers list. Actually, browsers list is also important because generally what happens is when you are developing an application, now you can even define the target browsers. Target browsers means in the UI, in the front end. So what are the browsers? What are the browsers supported? So that means when you are developing, you can configure the suitable browsers for your application, right? That means it contains configuration about target browsers. It contains the configuration about target browsers, and also Node.js version, and also Node.js version. So actually, this browser list is nothing but it is used for defining for target browsers list. Target browsers list means what plugins you need, and is that plugin suitable for that particular browser to access your components or not, because browser compatibility issues will come. When browser compatibility issues will come, then we have to recommend specific browsers. For example, you see Chrome. Suppose when you are using Gmail in Internet Explorer or Edge or Safari, some browser, immediately Gmail will alert you a notification saying that better use Chrome. Why it alerts? Because certain features may not be suitable to view in other browsers. They are designed for Chrome. They will better function on Chrome. So similarly, when your application you are developing and you are designing some animations and effects in your application, and you know that they will work only certain browsers, then you can configure those browsers here. You can configure the browsers related information here. That means which browser it has to use, which version browser it has to use, for which version it is not supported. All such things we need to configure here, right? That makes the client easy for accessing our application and using our application, and it immediately alerts the client. Remember, it contains only some sample content. You can customize and you can change them. That you will see how we can customize and we can change them, right? Yeah. So that is browser list. Next important, you have karma.config.js. This karma.config.js is nothing but, so it is configuration for karma, which is a testing framework, enabled in your Angular project. That means by default in your Angular project, a testing framework is enabled. That configuration of that framework is defined in this karma.config. Jasmine Karma, this is the testing framework. So what modules you need for testing, from where to bring those modules, so how to set up the testing environment for testing, all these are defined in this config file. So that is a testing config file, right? Karma config, right? Next, we have package.json, package lock.json. You have package.json. You have package.json file and package lock.json file. Two files are present. Now the point is, what is this package.json? and what is the